How was my first ever chemical peel? That's the question Kayla was answering when she unknowingly began documenting what would become one of the most traumatic and somewhat inspiring chapters of her life. Today, I'm sharing the story of Kayla.Nicole.G, a skit creator and former Disney princess performer, and someone who, in the most honestly unexpected way, ended up being a cautionary tale for what can happen when skincare goes dangerously wrong. This isn't just a chemical peel gone wrong. We've discussed that before, right? This is about what happens when professionals get careless, when medicine gaslights, when women are left to advocate for themselves in a system that wants them to stay quiet. And through it all, somehow Kayla stayed vulnerable, real, and resilient. Now, I found this story browsing TikTok. It feels weird calling somebody's lived experience a story. I was like, I have to share this because I feel like this is way more commonplace than a lot of people think. The horror, I'll just tell you about it. Now, Kayla had done beauty treatments before, right? Microneedling, Botox, laser hair removal. She wasn't new to cosmetic procedures, but this was her first ever chemical peel. For anyone who's unfamiliar, a chemical peel uses acids to exfoliate the top layer of skin, basically encouraging cell turnover. And it's supposed to leave you with smoother, clearer skin. But that's not what happened to Kayla. Not long after the peel, she noticed a reaction. At first, just redness, then crusting, then swelling. Then it kept spreading. So what had started as a very simple treatment had now turned into something foul, as she described it. Something far beyond normal, something far beyond the kind of like downtime that you have after a chemical peel. So kind of concerned about like what was going on with her face at the moment, she posted a photo to a national women's group online. There was 50,000 people in this group, right? Surely somebody would recognize what was going on with her skin? What was this thing on her face? But the answers she got were pretty terrifying. I mean, you may as well just Googled it. People were telling her she got skin cancer, shingles, a chemical burn. Now her face, something that she uses daily as a content creator, was now somewhat unrecognizable to her. So she called the nurse practitioner who performed the chemical peel, the same woman who had done no patch test, no skincare prep, and allegedly allowed a dog in a nappy to sit in the treatment room during the procedure.
Reading comments from other estheticians, though, was crazy because the NP who gave me my chemical peel did none of these preventative things. No patch tests, no facials, no weeks of specific skincare prior to the appointment. Allowing a dog with a diaper on in the room while administering a chemical peel does seem like it would be breaking a significant amount of health code violations.
I love dogs. I love dogs so much. I would do anything for dogs, but I do not want them in a room where I'm having a procedure done. That should be clean. So Kayla was prescribed naproxen, and cephalexin, I want to say. This is a topical and an oral antibiotic in the case that it could have been staph, but the infection kept spreading. So what follows now is so stressful, so stressful. It's basically a string of 5 misdiagnoses. She went to urgent care. When this medicine wasn't working, she was like, I need to go see a doctor. I need to go to hospital, then to the ER, then to a dermatologist. Now, at one point, she was told that this was impetigo, then staph, then shingles, then HSV1, then HSV2, and then both, then neither.
Establishments diagnosed me with impetigo, but 2 out of 3 cultures came back negative for bacteria, which rules out impetigo. But apparently they were false negatives, which is a common occurrence if you're already on antibiotics, which I was. I have now been misdiagnosed 5 separate times by the urgent care, emergency room, and dermatologist. All these antibiotics that I've been taking for weeks has been doing nothing except disrupting my gut biome. I got my results back from the culture the dermatologist did, which was a more intense screening than the previous 2 I had done. I've been diagnosed with HSV1 and HSV2 and staph. I don't know. HSV is incurable. I will be living with this for the rest of my life.
I don't know how she's posting about this because I'd be going crazy. I'd be in bits. Each diagnosis came with new prescriptions, new side effects, more fear, and more costs as well for each medicine that she had to buy. And each time she got an answer, it was unraveled in real time, right? In one particularly painful moment, Kayla described how a nurse called her to tell her that she had HSV1, HSV2, and staph. She sat with that for 2 days, feeling completely broken, isolated, terrified, only to have the doctor casually tell her at her next visit, oh no, you don't have HSV2. Just, okay. She kept pressing. She kept saying, are you sure? Because that's what your office told me. So eventually they ended up having to admit that they didn't actually check the cultures that they had taken from her face. So then Kayla had to basically beg them to look again, to look at the results, to look at her face and try and get properly diagnosed. I mean, how awful is that?
I just have HSV1?
Yes.
I don't have HSV2.
It did not say 2. I don't believe in the culture. So, okay.
Wait, because when they called me, they said
I mean, let me
both.
look at the culture. I can see.
I guess I need to know number one, is it HSV1 or 2 or both?
I'm gonna go look at the culture.
Okay.
I don't think that this is 2.
When they called me, they told me it was both.
I'm gonna go.
And I'll show you her chart.
Wait, is she not coming back to tell me?
She's in her room right now.
I thought she said she was going to check if it was HSV1 or 2.
I don't know. She wanted to make sure.
Can I wait until she's done?
I don't know when she's gonna be in here.
Is there anywhere that I can wait if it's not in here maybe then?
I don't know if we can call you.
Are you able to look at the notes if it's like online or something? Because like that's a pretty big difference. Okay.
They're over this, so I can't touch anything.
I don't mind waiting. If it's 20 minutes, it's 20 minutes. Like that's okay.
I think one of the clearest lessons from like watching Kayla's videos is that if you experience anything like this, you can never stop advocating for yourself. Like this was terrifying to think that she had gone to people who are meant to care for her and they just were messing about with it. They weren't checking results, telling her she had certain things that weren't on the results that they didn't check, then making her take medicine for that stuff that she shouldn't have because they didn't check. It's awful. It's so bad. If something feels off, press for information and demand better, especially when it comes to your health, right? Because if Kayla hadn't questioned that diagnosis, she would have been misdiagnosed again. And that's not just frustrating for her, that could be life-threatening in this situation.
Blood test.
So it looks like the lab work that she did, therapy simplex 1 and 2 is non-reactive.
I don't think I understand what non-reactive means for HSV 1 and 2.
It means that you don't have it. It's just the wording. It just, I don't know why they word it that way.
Wait. So I don't have HSV 1 or 2 at all. It's not in my system whatsoever.
Correct.
What?
This is the 7th time.
Yeah, that's crazy. So again, we ask, what is on your face? We gotta get a third opinion because
This is the 6th opinion. Singles in Patago. HSV 1, HSV 2 staff.
burn.
Chemical burn.
Yeah.
2nd and 3rd degree chemical burn.
What Kayla experienced isn't actually just a fluke either. It's the result of systemic failure in the way we approach skincare, aesthetics, and women's health in general. Let's talk about the dog in the treatment room. Not only did Kayla notice a dog in a nappy present during her pill, she later found out that the clinic was actively encouraging clients to bring their dogs into the office. You could see it all on Instagram. Dogs were allowed to sit on equipment and couches, no sterilization, no safety protocol. We joke about red flags. This was like a fucking crimson banner. This was ridiculous. And Kayla admitted she should have walked out there and then, but like so many of us, she put her trust into a professional. She also asked for the clinic's insurance information, something everyone should do when something goes wrong at a place like that. And the owner told her, oh, we have business insurance, but it wouldn't be appropriate to use it for something like this. No accountability, just a refund. And from what it looks like as of now, just complete silence. Now, through all of this, Kayla leaned into something deeply personal for her, which was her faith. She quoted scripture, she's prayed a lot, not small prayers, but big ones. She spoke candidly about her fear, her pain, and the mental toll this took on her. And even though I'm not religious myself, it was nice to watch her kind of like have something to hold on to amongst all this chaos, you know? Now, even more upsettingly, it looks like Kayla makes a living from TikTok and Instagram and all her social media platforms. She's an influencer, right? So not only could she not record her usual content because of what happened to her face, but her videos on TikTok actually started to get demonetized for horrifying graphics, disturbing graphics. The platform penalized her for showing the reality of her condition. And kind of at the time she needed income the most, the mounting prescriptions, the visit, the tests, the treatments. But luckily her following helped her out. They started donating and her comment section became really supportive, actually like kind of support groups for people as well. Like watching back the videos, I don't know how she's so upbeat on camera. You know, maybe her attitude's completely different off. I'm not sure I'd be able to share something like this if I knew I wasn't at least getting a financial benefit from, because I'd just be devastated. When your face is your job, this can ruin things. So eventually a plastic surgeon in Texas, she had a virtual consultation. They offered to fly her out for laser genesis and stem cell injections in hopes of preventing permanent scarring from what they believe was 2nd and 3rd degree burns from an incorrectly done facial. So a new chapter for her, a little bit of hope. She did joke that if she did end up with a scar, she'd audition for live action Avatar or something like that. I don't get the joke because I haven't watched Avatar, but she had a sense of humor. her sense of humor still intact. I'm grateful that she's sharing her story because this can happen to a lot of people. This story isn't just about Kayla's story, right? It's a reflection of something bigger, the importance of informed skincare decisions, the urgent need for regulation and sanitation in aesthetic clinics, the way in which women's pain is handled in the healthcare world, and a reminder to never stop pushing when you know something is wrong, the way Kayla did. Everything she did was right. She trusted, she followed up, and she advocated. She did all the right things and still managed to encourage others to do the same thing. So yes, I think as is the moral of these stories all the time, we have to be vigilant about our health, about the professionals we trust, and about the systems that often fail people way too much. It sounds awful to say, but I like seeing these stories because people need to be constantly reminded that people are doing this shit out there. It happens all the time, all the time. So people like Kayla sharing her story really, really does matter. Not just what happened to her, but seeing the healing process as well and where she's going to go from here and what could happen along the way. You never know when you're going to have to refer back to this story one day. Hope for all of us, never. Let me know what you think about this story down below. Have you had any horror stories of a chemical peel? I personally never want one. Prior to this story, I'm just not really that interested. But also, I feel like I've read enough chemical peel horror stories to last me a lifetime. But yes, you can watch some lighter entertainment here, some general like skincare review kind of content here, and I'll see you next time.